All right, everybody. Well, that was video interview number 1.
That was with Lara Helene. I had such a great time talking to her. We actually are going to we're keeping in touch a little bit more. I'm going to actually incorporate more of her music, and she's going to actually guest on Eldric Journeys very far in the future.
Awesome.
But just a great conversation. It was so fun. There's a full version. That was the short one. We had a 40-minute conversation. I cut out a lot of stuff that we talked about.
We basically just wanted to have it to be under a half hour like the rest of the times. But if it's longer and it's on somewhere else, it's meant for you guys to be able to like, oh, I like this person. They had a 20-minute interview on here. There's a 30, 35, 40-minute one over on your channel elsewhere to watch off stream, which includes what you've seen, but more. So
2 things. One, while we were eating our Arby's here, at one point Nate went to go to grab the keyboard,
and it was just like curly fries, barbecue, chicken, 1 chicken tender, and chicken nuggets, and I went like this, and I went, it's all Arby's. Because it's where my keyboard would be, but my keyboard's pushed back, so I'm like, it's all Arby's.
It's all it is.
And, yeah.
And then, what'd you say about Joe when he messaged?
Joe, I was like, oh, he's looking to get a kiss. Because he was being heartfelt, and I appreciate that. Also, everybody in the chat, thank you so much for the kind words. And we've been maintaining 8 to 10 viewers the whole time, which is awesome. It dropped from 10 immediately. Like, oh, fuck, he's giving us props to leave. All right, we are going to get on with Tim, I think, right, in a minute? But we owe you a couple spins, so we're just going to spin it, and if it's something to do later, we will do it later, but I wanted to give you guys a spin.
We definitely have to.
So we're just going to get on call with Tim right after this.
Yeah, and I'm going to...
It gives us time to think about a paint, and then we can get on it after.
Well, I already have my 3 if we wanted to.
But we're going to get on... When do we get on call?
Like now.
Okay, I thought so. Hey everybody, youtube.com/punkingnonstop/live here with Gimmick and Timmy Blaze on video call. We got a bunch more coming later.
This has been great. You guys are crushing it, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. A lot of the great thank you so much for being able to get Robert Hines on.
That was very fun.
That was
very
a
cool.
fun combo.
Dude, Robert is great people. He is like the man. I love Robert so much.
Well, how was your day? Because I know you got the shots and giggles tonight.
Yeah, we've got our monthly show at the old Drunken Donut in Joliet. And what's funny is I know for a fact that I'm going to be hosting half of this show to a room full of strangers. And I was significantly more nervous waiting for this call than I was.
Really? With us?
Comedy is just, it's like whatever now, but like, dude, this kind of shit, I'm like, oh, jeez.
I wish you would have seen us like probably a half an hour before we were.
It was like 11:58, and I'm like, all right, I'm kind of nervous. I'm honestly shaking. I'm like, when my hands stop shaking, I'll get right on that.
We didn't.
But isn't it one of those things though, where you're like, you're nervous leading up to it, but as soon as it gets going, you're like, all right, yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly where we are, especially because the stream quality is what we've been worried about. I think yesterday I was like, Nate, man, Tim said we could go to his house if the internet is that bad, and if something crazy happened, we would the place that we reside.
Okay, yeah, just randomly, like either the power will go out in town or just all cell signal and Wi-Fi will go out. For funsies, no idea why. And it's like, yeah, it's just out. So it's cool.
We've been watching the stream since the beginning and just chilling. And I, was working on my setup.
Is that Adele? Hello, Adele.
5 minutes before you called, my neighbor pulled up in his driveway, which is right next to my window, just absolutely blasting music. So I'm like, of course.
Oh, that'd be okay. I've got a Harley Master 2 over with a straight shot right where he revs his Harley at all hours of the day or night. So
real quick,
you gotta know he's cool.
Thank you. Exactly. Other people will know now too.
I mean, he's also got that really cool rebel flag out there too.
I think he actually took it down.
Oh, is it the Trump flag now?
No, he's got just the blue lion flag. He did take he took the Trump flag down. He took the rebel flag down. So respect on that. But
I mean, just real quick, bringing it to Season of the Cursed, Adele popped her head in there. To anyone who doesn't know, Adele did a feature on the Season of the Cursed theme.
That is very true.
Yes.
Season of the Cursed. Season of the Cursed.
I remember when we were recording it, and I remember watching Adele's face go on an emotional journey as she was singing the song, because she was looking around like someone was gonna make fun of her for singing.
Yeah, I'm gonna make fun of you for the thing I asked you to do for my project. No, I get
Wait
that
a
same way,
minute,
dude.
Are you singing for our Halloween musical?
Oh my
Nerd?
god! What?
Wow.
Into a microphone?
I love the season of the cast. She does that part.
So dope.
I constantly listen to that song again, and I love that end bit especially.
I love reflecting on me making fun of the way you edited my audio clip at the time.
Yeah.
Season of the cursed. Season of the cursed.
To bring it back into what this whole thing is about is like creators and artists, comedians especially. You've been in comedy for how many years?
I did my first set at an open mic in August of 2014.
Nice.
So,
I'm not going to tell you where I was in that year.
August 2014. That was the beginning of my senior year.
That was my graduating year, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so we're a year off.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that but you know, here we are. But so you've been like doing comedy for 9 years, and I know we've talked a lot about this off mic, but just for the stream in general, if you want to tell anything about how you have evolved as a comedian and as an artist as well. And also, Adele, I'm not letting you get away too. I want to talk about your art as well.
Well, it seemed she said I had to do a jump scare. And I'm like, that was not a jump scare, please.
because I do run an open mic, I do see a lot of new comedians, and they'll ask me a lot of times, like, oh, like, what advice would you have for a new comedian? And, like, the first advice I could tell every new comedian is, I did not listen to your set. I can pretty much guarantee I was mentally checked
somewhere
out.
else, yeah.
I used to tell comedians, like, look, we all have the same goal. I mean, we want
Make
to
people
do
laugh.
comedy. We want to make people laugh, but we want comedy to be our job. We want to do it.
Yes.
You know, we want to make money doing it and love what we do and
Do
all
what we
that stuff.
love.
Yeah, but how I get there versus how another comedian might get there, those are two completely different paths. You know, so I used to tell comedians, like, never, you know, look at someone other's trajectory and get upset or jealous
Yeah.
or whatever and say, well, hey, they're getting X, Y, and Z, but I should too, because your paths, you know, they're gonna be different.
Yeah.
But lately I've been telling people, like, actually, fuck that answer. My real answer is, dude, like, people need to just be respectful. Like, respect the venue, respect the staff, respect the producers that are putting on the open mic, respect, respect everything, because, there's so many people that are there making this happen for you to, get this stage time.
Yeah.
For you to go up and shit on, the person or people running it, the service, the food, whatever. It just comes off very shitty. So
Yeah.
The big thing is respect. But me personally, like, when I started, I think a lot of people, when they start comedy, they start edgy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, for some people that works. For some people,
It works opposite.
honestly, right. And for whatever reason, like, when they start, edgy is the way to go. And I mean, I'm no different. I said a lot of stuff when I started, especially in 2014 and 2015, that, dude, I would never, ever say today.
Yeah, exactly. We've been talking about that on and off with people a couple times today with, like, old shit where we're like, we thought it was funny, or it was the internet time, or it was what we'd grown up saying or doing or whatever. And looking back now, it's like, damn, totally just different people too, from then to
Right.
now.
And that's the thing. I don't really believe anyone should, like, dig up a set of mine from 2014 and say, "Oh, let's cancel this week now."
Exactly,
If
yeah.
anything, they should dig up that set and be like, "Oh, okay, well, look at the personal
where he's-
growth this person has made."
Yeah.
And it's really weird to me when people are like, "Oh, you're a comedian? That it's so tough these days. You can't say anything." And I'm like, "Man, that is."
Yeah, I mean,
My golden rule is always like, dude, if you got to be funnier than you are offensive. Like, if you're making
Yes.
me laugh by saying some out of pocket shit.
yeah, you're just saying slurs or something as a punchline. You're not funny. You're just shock value. Like, it could have a good build up,
Right.
and then you use that as the punchline. It's like you could have went somewhere else with it, and it'd have been really funny. Just anything like that. Because that's what a lot of people are like. You can't say anything. It's like, no, you can't say racist things anymore, and you're sad about that.
You can't say slurs just for the sake of saying
Yeah, just because,
slurs.
oh, it's comedy, bro. It's comedy. I can say that. And it's like, Sure, but don't. You're a dick.
Is running an open mic. I mean, you know, in my little spiel I do at the beginning of every open mic, I say, dude, this is an open mic. Literally anyone who can show up almost on time and write their name almost legibly on a piece of paper, they're allowed to come up here and tell jokes.
Yeah.
And whether you're new or you're experienced, but you're working on new stuff, you're working on jokes. It's batting practice. You're there
Yeah.
to try stuff out. So I don't necessarily hold it against people if they try a premise and it maybe doesn't hit or it's not worked out all the way.
Yeah.
But when you just go up there and you're like, hey, this slur, that slur, this slur.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that ain't it, man. That ain't it.
The one slur.
The
Sorry.
one slur. Oh my god. Damn.
Well, sorry.
I wish there was only one. But honestly, what gets me now, and this is what kind of does break my heart about the state of comedy right now, is you can ask Adele. She doesn't come to as many open mics as she used to when, you know, we started dating. And honestly, like a majority of it is misogyny.
Yep.
And on and off the mic, and you know, in a community where, you know, women are already outnumbered and
Discriminated more than men.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not fun to see. It's not fun to be around that kind of stuff. I agree with that. It's like we're all here to have a good time, and you're shitting on like this group or groups of people who are just trying to have fun and do the same thing as you, man. Like, come on.
Not to mention the fact that, you know, the owner of the bar that we do our open mic, you know, she's a woman. I know several club owners that are women, and you know, when you bring that kind of stuff to the table, like I don't know, it's
Touching on what you were saying earlier about like your earlier stuff not being who you are. I mean, Nate's going through one thing right now where he's going through all of his old content to make sure that he can like the stuff that you're actually proud of, the person who you are now versus the person who someone might see that and think that that's the type of person that you are.
Yeah.
What exactly has changed, do you think, in your style of comedy versus when you started out, besides just the edginess?
well, yeah, definitely the edginess is the big one, but also when I started out, I was very self-deprecating. And
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of comedians are. And maybe part of it is, you know, like self-deprecation has always been my defense mechanism. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you get bullied and you just start making fun of yourself, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, if I can dunk on me harder than you can,
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
But that, I mean, you can only go so far with that. It starts to get to a point, like I see with my sister, who's also a comedian. If she ever starts making jokes about, you know, certain aspects of her physical appearance, or her weight or anything like that, like the crowd is more likely to be like, oh, no, no, no.
Yeah.
As opposed to like actually give, you know, some kind of laughing reaction.
Yeah. I get that too, because especially like it seems like the self-deprecating one is like relating it as like a coping mechanism, like you had said, where it's just like, well, if I make fun of me too, then the things they say aren't going to be as bad, or they're not going to hurt. But also just like for when it's like supposed to be funny, the material you're always going to have is related to yourself, you know, like versus thinking of somebody else and what they're doing or this thing or whatever. You're like, I know me and what I do, I can make that funny, and it almost always goes to like making fun of yourself. But
when you do self-deprecating humor as well, essentially, you know, there's only one person you're going to offend, and that's yourself. So,
yeah.
You know, you can really kind of control what is and isn't said. Whereas if you're trying to be edgy and you start going for, like, say, a certain group or minority or whatever,
Yeah.
well, now you've got literal people now that are against you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're trying to walk that line and you can't quite figure it out or whatever, but... yeah, and another thing I noticed with my kind of comedy is I find that a lot of my jokes are longer and more like storytelling, greatly exaggerated things that actually have happened to me before. And I think the reason behind that is I'm so paranoid that if I do like a quick one-liner or a pun or something like that, like someone's gonna hear that and be like, oh, hey, that's so and so's joke, or hey,
Yeah.
you know, like this guy's got a joke that's very similar to that. And, you know, like, you know, not saying it's an intentional thing.
Yeah.
Parallel thinking is a thing, but
Yeah, I agree.
I never want to do a joke that automatically someone's like, hey, that reminds me of this other joke. So I tend to do longer jokes, kind of stories that are based on things that actually happened, and so that kind of route with my storytelling, which is cool. It's that I like the form of joke I do, but it's tricky because if you are doing a story that's 2 minutes long and within the first like 30 seconds, like those kind of jokes you sprinkle in aren't hitting, you're like, well,
Well, I can make the story 2 minutes instead of 15, I guess. Move on.
we're gonna shorten this because
We're gonna keep it short. Yeah.
You guys are not on this ride.
Not the right crowd tonight. Sorry.
Because I was there for it. Can I bring up the gumbo night? Can I, or is it?
Oh yeah, man, go for it. It was, I mean, there were people there. Were not. Other people experienced that night as well.
So me, Adele, Tim, KB, Amy, who are the other ones there that were? It was Sitko was there, and
Jim Flanagan, Sitko, and Ken Flores.
Yeah, just these really good comedians with like great material. But the owner of the bar had put a gumbo taste testing, like judging thing that was going on at the same time as the comedy. So no one was paying attention to the comedy whatsoever. And like they went up there, no one was paying attention. No one was giving them anything, and it was so funny to me. Like in hindsight, at the time, I was just like grabbing at my face. I was like, "Come on, someone, please pay attention." But KB went up there and was doing her set, and then like halfway through it, just stopped. Just stopped and started looking around and be like, "So you guys got the gumbo, or what's going on with the gumbo?"
Yeah, it's a tricky spot to be in. We've all been there. As much of a dumpster fire of a show that was, and I mean, like, just like you said, the circumstances weren't quite there. There was a literal, because it wasn't just like, oh hey everyone, have some gumbo. It was like 13 restaurants in the area all created their own version of gumbo, and you had to taste test all of these. So it's not just, hey, let's eat gumbo. It's, well, okay, I have 1, 2, and 3, and now I have to rank them on these 5 things. And this dude with a microphone will not shut the fuck up while I'm trying to eat my gumbo. And, yeah, it was a bit of a mess. I know the headliner at one point in his set told the table in the front that he was the last comedian, and they thanked him.
Damn.
My favorite part about that story, and it's something
so
that actually
wild.
gave me, like, it made me feel better about the whole thing, was just how all of the comedians there were kind of like helping each other, just like raising them up, and just how they handled it, which was just like, yeah, this happens.
Yeah.
Like they didn't take it too hard, too.
Yeah, I don't. This might not be the correct term, but there's a small degree of like trauma bonding that happens.
Yes.
Yep.
Goes down, where we then all share like, oh man, this
Trauma
reminds
club.
me of the shit show where this happened, or like, guys, this was nothing compared to the time, this happened. And yeah, it's a humbling experience, and it kind of comes with the territory of doing anything where you're putting yourself out there creatively, especially in a situation where comedy can be a delicate thing, because sometimes there's these venues and situations where you're kind of forcing comedy on people who maybe just think they're going to a bar to have some drinks with their friends, or whatever. So it gets rough. But honestly, as bad as that show was, it very much reminded me of another show that I did where they had booked a comedy show and a Magic Mike stripper show at the same time. And so basically what they had to do was they told all the women that were there for the stripper show, like, well, hey, let them do their little comedy show, and then afterwards you guys. So to keep them occupied, they just put them up in like the balcony area, and I think they were giving them free drinks or something, but they literally just talked and heckled through the entire show, like nonstop. And the thing with this show that was kind of a big deal was this was a show for you guys are a little younger, but you might not know. But there is an old wrestler named Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh hell
Yes, we know
yeah!
who Jake the Snake Roberts are. What
Hell
are you doing?
yeah!
Sorry, like I mean,
You're good.
you know, he's old, like WWF, you know. But
Classic.
anyway, he did a show here in Joliet, and basically, yeah, that was the show. I was hosting it, and it was the one that they double booked with a stripper show.
With a stripper show.
So basically, because you know, Jake is he's not a comedian. He's a storyteller. He's a wrestler. So part of his thing is he goes up there and he just tells stories, but then also he will do like a Q&A afterwards. And the people in the balcony were being so loud that he couldn't hear the people in the front row that were there to like actually see him and ask questions and stuff like that. So he ended up cutting his set short. And so like that was obviously like the biggest issue of the night. And then the second issue was I was probably like 3 years into comedy. So like I'm like, okay, I'm at a point where I want, you know, my friends and family to come out and, you know, see me now, see the progress I've made. And so my parents were there, my siblings were there, my cousins were there. I mean, like I had so much family there, and it was such a shit show that I'm like, oh, they don't respect or think what I do. They think this is like, they think this is a representation of what I do, and it's not. It's really not. And then the third layer of that bullshit sandwich was there's a thing in comedy. I think it's a thing in the music scene too, but it's essentially called a bringer show, which means it's a show that whoever's doing it, whoever's putting it on, gives you a bunch of tickets, and it's your job to sell the tickets. Or bringer is in like you have to bring X amount of people in order to get booked on this show. Or your pay is based on how many tickets you sell to this show. So it was a bringer show, and my sister and I were both on it. We had a bunch of family come out, so they were buying. It was one of those things where it's like one ticket is $30, but a table for 4 is $100. So we had so much family come in that they were just buying tables. And then what the booker did was basically he was like, oh, well, I'm looking here and you only sold 3 tickets. And I'm like, well, no, I sold like 3 tables.
Oh.
And they're like, right, 3 tickets, and your pay is like, you know, X amount per ticket. So like, yeah, here's your $20. And I'm like, bro, like, no, that's not
right.
So, yeah, so it was like multiple layers of like absolute shit show. So I mean, the thing with that gumbo.
That's just such a funny concept. Thinking of it every time I hear the gumbo comedy night, it's like holy shit.
Well, and that's exactly it. But
come on down to the catfish cabin, like.
Right, the gumbo night. Actually, I don't know if you know this. It was an event that was like kind of for a good cause. It was raising money for the battered women's shelter.
Okay.
And the owner of the place that we had that and we do our open mic, you know, she's very active in that kind of stuff. So also we booked that show in a way that all the comedians, she's like, I'll pay all the comedians, you know, X amount. And we booked comedians that were like, cool, take my pay and just put it right back into, you know, the donations.
That's very cool.
That is, yeah, it is really cool.
We didn't get paid for it, but it was for a good cause. She raised a shitload of money.
Awesome.
You know, she was super appreciative of us even being there. So that one was like, hey, that sucked, but, you know.
It was for a good cause sort of thing, yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
That's what I like about comedians is that they actually care. Like, not all of the comedians, I'll say that, because I've been told my fair share. But specifically the group that you run with, you guys have such an energy about you that you try to gravitate towards the good people and keep them around.
Yeah, there was definitely a very specific list of comedians we had in mind for that show. And we were even suggested by an outside source, like, well, hey, why don't you get, this guy or this guy, because they bring, and we're like, even if they draw a crowd, this is not
what we want.
Representation that we want.
Exactly.
Like if Tim Allen was like, hey, I'm coming down from Michigan.
It was actually, it was specifically Tim Allen. Yeah.
Awesome.
Real quick, because we got like a few minutes before our next guest. Adele, I know you have a stack of your paintings to your right, guaranteed.
How did you know?
Because I've seen them.
He's clairvoyant to people's right sides only.
Their left is the evil side. I don't go near that.
Yeah, scary.
If you could just show us at least one of the paintings that you're proud of. They are great. I don't care. I don't care what you say. They are great. I especially love the tongue one.
I gotta find that one.
Okay, before we get off, Tim, if you had anything else you wanted to shout out, like any channels of yours or upcoming events, more than welcome to drop the links or addresses for those and times.
I'll send you some things, but I mean, as far as comedy goes, I run a comedy open mic every Tuesday called See You Next Tuesday Comedy Open Mic.
Love that.
In the Speakeasy of Mojo's in downtown Plainfield.
Okay.
Again, it's an open mic anyone can go to. And then the fourth Saturday of every month, we do a comedy showcase.
Ooh, that is very cool.
Oh, this way?
No.
No.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That is very
badass.
cool.
Let's start here.
Adele, you do some great
That is
shit,
awesome.
dude.
What medium is that?
It's actually Dollar Tree paint. Paint from Dollar Tree.
Awesome.
I love that shit.
See, it just goes to show that even if it's $1 a shitty set of paint, you can make amazing things with it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
used to crush up bugs and grind up mummies. A dollar store paint is a godsend.
That's what I'm saying. I think Adele needs to start like a YouTube or a Twitch channel where she does all of her art with her dollar store paint.
Just live stream on your TikTok.
Yeah.
You could do like a collab live TikTok.
That's true.
You think I can invite to live? Oh, you probably could invite you to a live on there and just join to it. That'd be cool.
Adele has a decent TikTok
Oh yeah,
following.
shout out your thing too real quick around here if you want. You don't have to, but
Yeah, your TikTok following is pretty good. Some of the people there maybe not, but you know.
Yeah.
what could you mean?
If you want, you can. If not,
People are traditionally nice to women on the internet, so...
Oh, yeah,
Always.
for sure. It's,
Yeah.
It's
I've never seen anyone be mean to a woman online, actually.
could you spell that out real quick?
It's ELEDAALORA 11.
Oh, she's going binary. The code.
What, the numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
She's just like sleeper cells herself.
Before we jump off, I just want to say to the stream, because this is for Season of the Curse too. Tim and Adele have offered to help us with pretty much anything that we could ask.
And they hosted a screening of it for us.
They did,
right before
dude.
Halloween 2022, which was very cool.
I want to say that was one of the best nights of my life.
Yeah, that was very fun.
It was so validating to see that up on the screen.
It was a blast, man. You guys deserve it. Yeah, Adele and I were talking before the stream with her makeup, her beautiful singing. I got a drone.
We are going to use that drone. I hope you understand.
Yeah. I've got one, but it ain't up to par. It was a gift for free, so.
Yeah. But again, thank you so much. Also, I'm just going to sneak this in. Thank you guys for listening to Puzzle Valley. I always appreciate that. That one's my favorite. Anytime a new episode drops, I sit back and I wait for you guys to tell me about it. That's just kind of how it goes. Good luck tonight, Tim, at the Shots of Giggles at the Drunken Donut in Joliet. Thank you both for appearing here.
Yes, thanks again so much, you guys. Have a good one. Thank you again for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.